So, sorry if this report's a bit weird. It's all filmed by myself and played by myself, so this is the first of my lockdown series. So, the British side, they had two Shermans, Sherman Firefly, sorry. The one had all the upgrades, the other didn't. Sherman 5 and a Comet. The Comet is modelled by one of my mechs that I use for another game, but doesn't really matter. Made it a bit sci-fi or what have you. And then they were going up against the Germans, who had a Tiger 1 with the Tungstens, an Ernest Beckmann, a Panzer 4, and a Panther. The Firefly, if I remember correctly, had the advanced loader, so he gets two of the same shot. He had the Commando, which allows you to reroll one miss, and he had the Tungsten shot. The Panzer 4 here is modelled by a Panzer 3, but forget you know it's Panzer 3. This is the game board, so it was two boards that I made when I was way younger, hence them looking a bit dodgy with a bright green base. It is a road and a curve, so the objective of the game, modelled by Handy McHand, was to drive your Shermans off the board at the corner. There you go, pointing obviously to make it clear. And the Germans, they needed to destroy, well, did it myself there, need to destroy the Shermans before they can get off the board. The Germans get a point for each Sherman destroyed, and the British got a point for each Sherman that survived. Handy McHandface keenly showing us how an explosion works. So, do you get it? Hope you do. Goodbye, Handy. So, this is how it started set up. Realistically, I should have done it with a longer board. So the Sherman 5 at the front, then the Firefly, then the Firefly, then the Comet. Germans, Tiger front at the bottom, then the Panzer 4, hiding behind the cover, and then the Panther. So, moving on to the first turn with the movement. So I decided that I'd give the initiative to the English because they were the ones who were being ambushed by the Germans. So, Sherman 5 moving first, really dodgy with the measuring stick, not very accurate, but doesn't matter. It was more of just a bit of having fun than a proper tournament style game, especially when I'm playing against myself. Then on to the Shermans. I didn't really bother measuring these as they're all in a line, they'll end up in a line again. Then the Comet, I knew I had to move up behind, but then he's allowed 3 movements because he's fast, so he moved again. And there you go, he's got the fast rule. Now the British did have the semi-indirect fire rule, but I never got around to using it, and I did give camouflage netting to the lead Firefly, which is actually in the middle, but none of these came into effect because I didn't stand still for long enough. So I think this is the shooting of the first round. There you go, Handy McHandface. So the Panther has the highest initiative, which is tied with the Comet, but because the British did have the higher initiative, but I did want the Germans to shoot first because they'd got the initiative. Here we go, he's shooting at the Sherman 5, which is at the front. So then it creates an obstacle that I have to go around. Lose my thoughts. So, rolling my dice, I get my 5 attacks. A 5 and a 4 hit, a 2 misses, a 1 misses, and a 6, which is a critical hit. So, because he moved twice, and he has an armour characteristic of 1, showing you the wrong tank, sorry. He has 3 dice to defend, and no dice from the Panther. So I have a 2, which does nothing, a 4, which cancels one of the normals, and a 3, which doesn't do anything, unfortunately. So I receive 1 damage from the 5 and a critical effect from the 6. and the critical is a bailed out, so the tank cannot move or shoot. Crew's basically fled. No damage though from that, luckily, so he does only have 1 damage, but I can't do anything with him until I pass the crew check, which will be on a 4+ at the end or start of the next turn. The end of this turn or start of next turn, sorry. So then we're moving on to the Comet, which fires, and he gets a 5, a 3, a 3, a 2 and a 1, so he only gets 1 hit there. Should be easily countered by the Panther. Now this is what I mean. You can see it really clearly here. I should have made the board longer, because the British are nearly off the board by the end of the first turn, and it makes it easy for the British to win. Might do another version. So there he got a 3, a 2 and a 2, both miss. Through the 4, sorry, cancelled the 1, and I didn't get a glance at the other one, unfortunately. So now we're moving on to the Tiger, who's shooting at the Firefly. I remember doing this because I thought, well, the Sherman's bailed out, they can't do anything, so shoot at the Firefly, they're the next in line. So I got 2 6s, a 2 and a 5, I think. Oh no, sorry, another 6. So 3 6s and a 2 and a 3. So the 2 and the 3 both miss. Then triple critical. So it's pretty deadly barrage there. The Sherman Fireflies do only have 5 wounds. So he only gets 3 saves, 1 normal and 2 freeze movements. So cancel a critical. That cancels any hit, starting with what the opponent wants, whereas a 6 allows the defender to choose what they want. So obviously a 6 usually cancels critical, and a 5 will just cancel normal, and then whatever's left. So an engine fire on him, so that's going to take 1 damage straight away, and then 1 damage at the end of every round unless I can roll above 4. So pretty non-devastating round of shooting, to be honest. So the Firefly's shooting back with his super velocity shot. Now this does add 2 extra dice to the roll, however it does take away the ability of a 4 to hit. So rolling with the other dice, because I didn't have enough, I only have 5 of the others. So yeah, I remember one dropped on the floor, and luckily I managed to catch it. So there's a 6, a 5 and a 4. They all hit. A 2, a 3, a 1 and a 3. They all miss. Unfortunately though, because of the super velocity, the 4's then discounted. So a 6 and a 5 hit, 1 critical and 1 non. So move twice, 2 base and 1 for being in cover. So Sherman moved twice, so that's 2 for his armour and 1 for the cover. Rolling, and there's a 2 and a 2, both do nothing. Another 2, nothing. A 4, which blocks a standard because I get to choose that. Therefore, a critical does go through, pulling the critical out. This tank has -2 to its shooting. Discard after the tank shoots. Damaged optic, so it's already shot this turn. So I can try and discard it at the end of the round, or I can shoot next turn and get rid of it. So the Firefly shot, then onto the second Firefly. I believe he shoots at the Panther now. I didn't really say who he shoots at, but I do think it was the Panther. So a 5, 3 5s and a 4, so 4 standard hits, sorry. Panther will get 2 for the Firefly's movement and 2 for it being in its front arc. So 4 dice, rolling away. So we got a 3, a 2, a 2, and a 1. So they all miss. So all of them hit. Oh, sorry, no, that was the Panzer IV attacking the Firefly, which is enough to blow it up with the damage from the previous attack from the Tiger. That was my, in a way, commander or leader of the force. Mainly because it took the most effort and he looks the most badass. So he was the one with all the upgrades. So might as well move those to one side, as we've only got the standard one left. Sorry if there's a squeaking, it's my chair. It's getting a bit old now, but the last Firefly in the group, Panther. This is the shot I was referring to earlier. So these are 6, a 5, a 6, 6, 5, 4, and a 3. So 2 criticals and 2 normals and 1 miss. So 4 in defence because he's moved 2, and he's also, because the Firefly moved 2, and he's also got 2 standard. So a 6, a 1, a 2, and a 3. So 1 critical save. So we have damaged optics for the 1/6 that remains, and then 2 damage onto that tank. The Fireflies do have 5 hit points, so he does have 3 remaining. Now we move on to turn 2. So we can reset all the speeds, but before we move on to turn 2, you can do it at the end of turn 1 or the start of turn 2. It's basically an in-between. You get to decide, get to do your command phase. So on a roll of 4+, you get rid of any critical effects. So we just got rid of the fire. And here we're trying to get rid of the damaged optics before we get to shoot, which we fail. And getting rid of the damaged optics for the Panther. And we pass. So the Tiger has damaged optics with a -2 to its shooting, so it'll only roll 3 dice for the attack this time. So now we move on to turn 2 with the movement of the British. So that Sherman 5, which, sorry, it wasn't a 5, that was the bailed out. So he has got his crew back in, 1, and the 2 will get him quite clearly off the board. So that is 1 point to the British, and the Germans have 1 point for destroying the command Firefly. Next goes the other Firefly. I knocked the one bush over. So the next Firefly moving, so he's going to have to go around the previous. And 1. And it was a bit tricky here. And I also pulled him out of the way. But my opponent, which was also myself, didn't really mind. And 2, so just not enough to get him off the board, unfortunately. He will probably come under fire this turn. And so he's moved these 2. On to the Comet now. So he is the fast one, so he can move 3, so that's 1. 2 gets him on the edge of the board, so 3 is quite clearly, obviously, going to get him off the board. And he's off the board, so another point to the British there. So now it is 2-1 with the British leading. However, there are now 3 very angry tanks facing off against 1 wounded tank. So we'll start off the shooting with the Panther. There we go, hand indicating the shooting. Panther, the Sherman, because he's obviously the only one. So he's rolling these 5 dice. He's got a 6, which is critical, a 6, and a 5, a 4, and a 3. So 1 miss there, pretty good hit. So he'd get 3 dice, 2 for his movement, 1 standard. However, he loses 1 and loses another. My camera cut out there because it's into his side, and I can't find the movement, which was actually right in front of me the whole time. And it's also close range, so you lose 1 for close range, 1 for it being a side shot. So we only get 1 dice to defend, and we get 2, which does nothing. So that's 4 damage, which would have been enough to blow him up. But I thought it'd be fun to have a look at what the critical effects were. So we got a damaged equipment. So take away any equipment, he didn't have any in the first place. We also got a lucky hit, which was a 2 damage, which would have been enough to destroy a full Sherman Firefly there. So he's destroyed. So then we're left on 2-2. 2 points to the British, 2 points to the Germans. overall, I think this was an interesting battle report. I think to make it more effective, we could have given the British a free movement action and the Germans a free shooting action. And I feel like the board should have been a bit longer, as I think with it being that short, with it being only two moves and they're off the board, I think it made it a bit short and uninteresting. So I think if I did it again in the future, we'd add to the length of the board and maybe think about adding in with the Germans a concealment, so they get a bonus dice for their defence, and for the British an off guard maybe rule instead of a concealment for the Germans, where because they don't know what's just happened to them, where they lose one dice to their shooting or they lose initiative. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon.